of Boker Kalashnikovs I'm going to talk about. These are a automatic knife. They come in many different varieties. They have overall length of about 7.5 inches, 3-inch cutting edge. Come in right about 3.5 ounces in weight. There's many different colors: oranges, blues, blacks, greens, camo prints, earth tones. They have tontos, drop points, clip points, dagger style blades. I even saw a Bowie style blade. There's many different varieties. Both of these knives, however, are several years old. This one is at least 7 or 8 years old. I bought it on a vacation when we were in Tennessee. This one I picked up a couple years later. We were at a gun show. It was our 7th or 8th wedding anniversary, and I saw it, and it had a feature that this knife had, but not any other Boker Kalashnikov knives I have seen had. So I really wanted to get it, but at the same time I was buying some guns. Well, luckily my wife had picked it up for me and gave it to me as an anniversary present. So I don't really carry it, but I just keep it, as a memento and stuff. Not that it's a high dollar knife or anything like that, but, might as well keep it in good shape. Anyway, that feature that these have is a lock. Now I know there's lots of these knives out there, but they do not have a locking mechanism. Now, as you can see, once I slid that safety mechanism back, these things do deploy, fairly quick, and they feel pretty snappy given the light weight to the knife. The reason I like the lock, though, is I've carried a couple of these Bokers that did not have the lock. And then you gotta keep in mind, this is tip-up right-hand carry. I guess you could carry it left-handed, but generally tip-up right-hand carry. So what happens is if that knife opens in your pocket, which it will open in your pocket, because unlike, say, my Kershaw Lunches or my ProTech automatic knives, if you look, that plunge lock actually sticks up quite a bit past the handle. And it doesn't take a whole lot to depress it. So if you get in that right position, or you have change or keys in your pocket, or you lean up against it and see that blade starting to come out, wham. Now what actually happens is it would be riding in your pocket like this. So now it opens up, catches on your inner line of your pocket, right? Maybe you don't realize it deployed, and then when you go ahead and reach your hand in your pocket, you're reaching right into the tip of that blade. So, and I have done it. So when I got this one, I assumed that they all had this lock. And I carried this knife for an entire year. I was really happy with it. The blade material being AUS-8 is okay. I mean, I had to sharpen it and stuff like that. And you can see it has, a lot of the finish has worn off. But I truly carried it for an entire year in the pocket when I worked night shift. And it got used to cut up boxes and whatever tasks, zip ties, whatever. And actually, the spring broke within, about the first year. And there's replacements for them. And I replaced it a couple of times. And for whatever reason, this knife just liked to break them. So in the end, I ended up just keeping it out. And it's a little awkward to do because my arm's coming around the camera here. But I just use that button as a button lock, rather than to deploy it automatically. And so imagine it using it as like an access lock, right? So, I mean, it does work. And I had locked myself out of the house one day, and this was the only thing I had on me, and I actually used it to pry a window. And I broke the tip off, kind of gave it a quick little reprofile, and by then the knife was pretty old, and I didn't necessarily care a whole lot about it. But, I mean, it did survive quite a beating. But, the other downside I would say to these knives, I don't know if have updated the pocket clips. I don't believe so, but these clips are fairly flimsy, and you would think by having these ribs in it, it would gain some rigidity, but it really hasn't. I mean, for whatever reason, I've had to rebend this clip, several times throughout that year I carried it to get tension back on it so it would stay in my pocket. So it's kind of a spring steel that's, I don't know if I can kind of show, just like, it's kind of soft. So that's something to keep in mind. And like I said, these are great knives, great budget knives. I've seen them as low as $32 on Blade HQ before. I think they generally run around $40 to maybe $50. All kinds of colors. different blade profiles, you know. So let's go ahead and take a look at that action one more time. You know, quick deployment. It's got a little bit of side-to-side play, up and down, or, you know, whatever you want to call it, lock rock or whatever, a little bit. But you know what, that's pretty indicative of automatic knives. I mean, even some of my higher dollar automatic knives have some play in them. But it's a sharp looking knife, fairly lightweight, pretty comfortable in the hand. You've got jimping not only on the handles but also on the spine of the blade, and it's not, to me, it's not super aggressive jimping. It feels pretty good in the hand. You know, offers a lot of stability if you were to be piercing or slicing. You know, good budget knife, good budget auto knife. But I just want to show them off because, like I said, I've seen a lot of these Bokers at gun shows. I've seen them in stores, in knife shops. I've seen them on Blade HQ. I've asked other people that own them if they have the lock on them, and no one seems to have seen them with the lock, or have heard of them that even coming with the locking mechanism. So it must be maybe only one or two limited individuals that were importing them into the country, whatever company they were importing them for. Maybe they were adding them here once they were in the States. But yeah, I like that feature. So those are my Boker Kalashnikovs. Again, if you guys would, please like, subscribe, and comment. If you have any suggestions or input, I'd be glad to hear it. You guys take care and have a great day.